10 indisputable facts about the 10 commandments. Here are 10 indisputable facts, or definitions, about the 10 commandments from the Old and New Testaments, 2 witnesses, or dictionaries, of God's message to humanity. First, God wrote them. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. Exodus 32, verse 16. 2. They are eternal, meaning they will not change or be erased. All his commandments are sure, they stand fast forever and ever. Psalm 89, verse 34. 3. They are perfect as they are. The law of the Lord is perfect. Psalm 19. If they were perfect, would their function or purpose need to change? We'll die if we break them. He poured out his life unto death, bearing the sin of many. Isaiah 13, verse 9. Satan was first to convince a human otherwise. 4. It is our job to obey them. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13. 5. These first 5 points are taken from the Old Testament. Many of those who want to display the commandments argue that the laws are an old covenant relic meant for the Jews, and Christians aren't subject to them because they are outmoded in our relationship with Jesus. Although points 2 and 3 each seem to shatter this argument, we'll see later from the New Testament that Jesus also denied the claim that the commandments have been nullified. But first, this viewpoint contradicts one major reason given to showcase the commandments in schools and other government-run institutions. That being, we have a government established on Judeo-Christian principles, and displaying them is simply honoring that. If we live in contradiction to the commandments, merely displaying them as a testimony of past government, it is hollow praise at best. We shouldn't treat God's law with such diminished value. At worst, it is hypocrisy. For if we tell non-believers we want to honor our Judeo heritage, and then claim that actually following its principles is no longer important in a saving relationship with God, what other message could that send? It seems logical to conclude that to honor our Jewish heritage, we would honor the 10 commandments in our lives and hearts. In addition, displaying a religious icon to honor our past is, in fact, a sincere endorsement of those principles, something God has asked us to do, not an earthly government. But the New Testament, even after Jesus' death, doesn't regard the law itself any differently than the Old Testament. In fact, it is easy to conclude that the New Testament also affirms that God's law is forever and ever. 6. Breaking them is still wrong. Sin is the transgression of the law. 1 John 3, verse 4. 7. Humanity still needs them. I had not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust, except the law said, Thou shalt not covet. Romans 7, verse 7. 8. Obeying them is still a sign of loyalty. If ye love me, keep my commandments. John 14, verse 15. 9. They are still eternal. It is easier for heaven and earth to pass than one tittle of the law to fail. Luke 16, verse 17. Jesus exalted them. God established the law with his own voice. Might it need Jesus' voice to do away with them? Yet he never does, before or after his death. 10. They are still perfect. Think not that I come to destroy the law, but to fulfill. Matthew 5, verses 17 to 18. Jesus did not change any part of them. It's clear that Jesus wants us to keep the laws of God, the 10 commandments, and I believe he is dismayed at the hollow gesture of displaying them in our government halls and not in our outward lives. Jesus continued to call the commandments laws, and he never defined them differently. So this next verse is a clear message. Whoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. James 2, verse 10. Of course, Jesus also obeyed them exactly the way they were intended. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. John 15, verse 10. So Christians surely cannot conclude that they are not meant to follow them as Jesus followed them. Isn't that what Christians are? A reflection of Christ?